My name is Fazail Azizan. You are watching the Azad TV shows. We are gonna to discuss the assassination of one of the IRG's official that it's being said that he was the headquarter of cyber warfare unit linked to the corps. There are a lot of speculation has been surrounding around his death, and Islamic Republic of Iran denies that it has been an assassination or a politically motivated assassination. Now I'm gonna to discuss this issue with one of the American famous journalist, Mr. Richard Silverstein. I have Mr. Richard via the Skype. Richard, thanks for joining for Azad TV and thanks for accepting our interview. What do you think about the assassination of Mujtaba Ahmadi? As you know, the first account on an Iranian website stated that Mujtaba Ahmadi, the head of Iranian cyber warfare, had been found shot in the head outside Tehran. The Revolutionary Guard issued a statement denying that he had been assassinated, but admitted there had been a horrific incident which it was being investigated. What do you think, Richard? What's going on?
This is a difficult case to figure out. I have a source in Israel with some security access to some security sources. I'm sorry, and my source in Israel claimed that this was an assassination carried out by the Mossad, and I asked my source whether there were MEK assassins involved, as there have been in the past when Iranian nuclear scientists were assassinated, and he could not confirm the MEK was involved, but he did say the Mossad was involved. On the other hand, I can't fully confirm that that is indeed what happened, because the IRG, which in the past has normally been willing to accuse Israel of assassinations of the nuclear scientists, for example, has actually denied this and said it was not an assassination. They have conceded that he was murdered. And we know, we have pictures of his funeral, so we know that he died. There is also a dispute about what his role was in the IRG. The Telegraph, a British newspaper, claims, based on a Facebook page where condolences were published, that he was commander of Iran's cyber warfare unit. Iranian American sources have told me that the IRG is only acknowledging that he was the commander of an intelligence unit in the town of Karaj outside of Tehran. So we have two competing narratives here, and it's really hard to distinguish which one is the accurate one.
Sir, let me stop you here. You
Yeah.
just mentioned a great point that I think many journalists and analyzers did not notice it. And it was the Telegraph report. In the Telegraph report, as you just mentioned, they referred to a Facebook page about the position of IRG officer, and they claimed he was the headquarter of a cyber war unit in the IRG. But nobody was able to find and confirm this Facebook page. I actually individually, I was unable to find any Facebook page regarding the issue that the Telegraph referring in its report. What do you think about it?
Right, I sent a tweet to Damien McElroy, as one of the reporters who wrote that story, and I asked him if he could help me find the Facebook page, or if he had a screenshot of the Facebook page that I could look at, and I didn't hear a response from him. You know, it's really hard to say that, it's a little dubious that that the Iran Cyber War Command would have its own Facebook page. Possible. I mean, I know that members of the Israeli armed forces have had Facebook pages and they published embarrassing information that has been made public and embarrassed the people who put the information out there. So it is possible, but until I see the Facebook page or can confirm that it exists, I can't, confirm the Telegraph report. In addition, these two reporters, one of whom is Iranian, who reported the Telegraph story, have published some dubious stories about Iran in the past, including one that claimed that Ahmadinejad was of Jewish origin, which has never been confirmed to my satisfaction. So I'm a little skeptical about that.
Richard, if you believe that likely Mossad has carried out this assassination, why do you think the IRG officials, the Islamic Republic officials, denies it? Because in the past, they were blaming in such cases directly Israel and America. But in this case, they are keeping themselves away and they don't blame anybody, and they are trying to say that it was not an assassination. What's your idea, Richard?
I cannot speculate about what internally the IRG is saying. That's really kind of goes beyond what I'm able to do. But maybe we can talk about something I do have some ideas about, and that is why, if the Mossad was involved, why they might have wanted to kill someone like Ahmadi. And that is, there's a cyber war going on between Israel and Iran, and not just Israel and Iran. It involves the United States, it involves some of the Gulf states like Saudi Arabia. They all have been attacked at various times by cyber war personnel on either side. So, for example, the United States and Israel teamed up, the NSA in the United States and Unit 8200 of the IDF teamed up to create the Stuxnet virus and the Flame virus, which attacked Iran's nuclear uranium enrichment program and destroyed centrifuges in Natanz. And in revenge, or in response, Iran has attacked Saudi Arabia's oil company and destroyed their computer system. And it's alleged that Iranian hackers have attacked U.S. bank websites and took them down. So there would be a motivation for the Mossad to attack someone in Iran in the IRG who was responsible for the cyber war capability, if the Mossad indeed was involved. And I think this is a really dangerous escalation if this is what happened, because it would be the first time that someone who was involved in cyber war operations was murdered for that reason. It would mean that in addition to Iran being a target, now other nations could become targets. We know that China has targeted the United States with cyber war operations, and it's a very small step from that to targeting the people who are doing the attacks. And then you get into some very dangerous territory, I think. Because until now, these attacks have only damaged property. They have not involved, killing people. And that's where this will lead. And it may have led already to that if Ahmadi was killed in this way.
Richard, as you know, there are always replacements for this kind of people.
Yeah.
So actually, many people don't see a great benefit for Israel. And adding to confusion surrounding the Mojtaba Ahmadi's death is this, that on October 4, an Iranian opposition group called the Soldiers of the Kingdom Assembly of Iran had claimed responsibility for the murder. Sharif, the IRG official who denied Ahmadi's death was an assassination, also dismissed these claims. saying the group has nothing to do with assassination, and this group intends to use this case in its favor. A couple days ago, I had the spokesman of this group with the name of Thunder, or in English you call it Thunder, and they still claim that they carried out this assassination. What do you think? Do you think that this group, this Iranian opposition group, has the capability to carry out this important assassination and kill one of the headquarters of the IRG? What's your idea, Richard?
I'm very skeptical. I think it's more likely this group wanted to take responsibility to make itself look more credible as opposition force. I don't think that the monarchist movement among the Iranian diaspora has the kind of domestic internal network in Iran that could carry out something like this. I haven't seen any evidence that they've done anything like this before. I've seen a lot of evidence that a group like the MEK could do something like this because it has a network inside Iran. And it's proved that it's capable of doing this with the help of the Mossad, and that's how they killed the nuclear scientists and carried out other sabotage in Iran's military operations. So if this happened, it's much more likely it was the MEK. And if it was the MEK, that would be very distressing, because the United States has just delisted the MEK as a terrorist organization. So if they were now back in the terror business, it would be a contradiction of the delisting that happened, which happened because the United States government said that the MEK was no longer involved in terror. So that's why I'm very interested to see whether we can prove the MEK was involved. As for monarchists, I'm very skeptical about that claim.
Richard, in a statement posted on Al Bor's website, a site that has strong links to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, the authorities are trying to quash rumors that Ahmadi and important officials in the organization had been assassinated. They don't say anything about the position of Mujtaba Ahmadi, and most importantly, they are trying obviously deny that it has been an assassination. Richard, do you think that the IRG has changed its strategy and they are trying to cover their weaknesses? What do you think, that why they try to say it wasn't an assassination?
That's a good question. In the past, as you know, they have confirmed, they have charged the Mossad with killing Iran's nuclear scientists. They have done the opposite here. They've denied it was an assassination. So my sense is that, it's hard to say, but my sense is that if this was an Israeli assassination, they would admit it, and they would try to generate sympathy for themselves in both inside Iran and in the world community by claiming that Israeli intelligence had invaded Iranian sovereignty, had engaged in an act of state terror, which is what I see attacking another country's nuclear scientists is. It may be, though, that because an IRG commander was assassinated, that this is a very sensitive issue for the IRG, and that they would not want to admit that the Mossad could attack an IRG commander, that this would be one of the first times that the Mossad had been able to do this. Although I should add that there was a major explosion at an IRG missile base in which the head of Iran's missile program was killed. But that was not planned as a direct assassination. That was just sabotaging the missile base, which ended up with the commander being killed. So this would be the first direct assassination of an IRG commander by the Mossad if it happened. So, I'm just speculating why they might want to deny it was an assassination. But again, I can't really say for sure.
So, Richard, what we can say is this, that for sure, for the time being, we cannot say for sure who did this assassination, But you believe that it was an assassination, aren't you?
I believe that he was murdered. I don't know if this was an assassination. I really feel like I would have to wait and see whether the IRG is willing to come out with a more direct statement about that. I've heard two reports about how he was killed. One report said that two men on a motorcycle killed him and shot him at close range, and a witness said that they saw bullets, they saw bullet wounds in his heart. But then another report said that his body was found in a forest. So those two stories conflict, and you know, when I read stories that have such strong conflicts, and that I can't reconcile the two different versions, or I can't turn them into one narrative.
But Richard, let me stop you here. But yeah, pay attention to this important point, that these two reports that you just mentioned, the source of this resource was Al Bor's side, and the first report that they mentioned two people on motorcycles was eliminated. I mean, was removed, and then they modified the report. So so I think that there should be something, or the first report likely is very, very near to the fact. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. If this report of the motorcyclists is true, then that would really tend to confirm that the Mossad was involved and the MEK was involved, because this is exactly the modus operandi of the previous assassinations that we mentioned of the 5 nuclear scientists. They used two motorcyclists, one of whom was driving the motorcycle, the other attached a bomb to the cars of the scientists. In this case, if the story is correct, you had one motorcyclist driving the vehicle and the other with the weapon used to assassinate the IRG commander. So again, you know, I don't know if that story can be confirmed, then to me it's much more likely the MEK was involved along with the Mossad. I don't understand, though, if that is the case, why it becomes very interesting if the Mossad engaged in this assassination, why it would do that in using the timing that it did, because you have Hassan Rouhani going to the United Nations and making a very conciliatory speech, having a phone conversation with the President of the United States, in which they both agree that the Iranian nuclear issue can be negotiated and resolved in a very short period of time. These are all very hopeful signs, and we're hearing words and a tone that we've not heard in many years, going back to 2003, when President Khatami made similar proposals. And if you have the Mossad engaging in an assassination, it would seem that it's possible that Israel might want to use such an assassination in order to destroy this momentum towards peace, towards conciliation. So again, I want to make clear I'm speculating, but okay, if this has any credibility as a story that the Mossad was involved, it's very troubling, the timing of it, and it would indicate that there are elements within the Mossad, the Israeli intelligence establishment, that may want to use this to undermine this peace overture that has been so important lately.
So, Richard, my understanding from your speculation is this: if the Mossad has carried out this assassination, it is because to avoid and stop any establishment or relationship between the United States of America and Iran, because they are angry and they don't want to see Iran is getting close to the United States. Is that correct, my understanding?
That would be one element, and the other element would be revenge for Israel attempting to take revenge on Iran for the attacks that Iranian cyber hackers have engaged in the United States against American banks and in Saudi Arabia against the oil company. So it would be also a response to Iran's cyber war activities.
Now, the last scenario speculation you just made, it does make sense, at least to me, especially it justified the denial of the IRG official because they don't want to destroy the relationship or the establishment between the America and United States, and that's why the IRG officials obviously trying to deny that it was an assassination.
Yeah, it's possible that the IRG, I mean, we have a lot of unknowns here. We don't understand fully the internal dynamic going on in Iran right now. We know that President Rouhani, with the support of the supreme leader, is reaching out towards the West with an initiative that might resolve the nuclear impasse. We know that there are elements in the hardliners inside Iran, including in the IRG, that are opposed to this outreach. So that we know. Whether the IRG, if it was attacked, would want to stay out of this dynamic and deny that he was assassinated, that's possible. So what you're saying is possible, but again, I'm sorry, we have to say that we have to remember that it's speculation and it's educated guesses. I'm hoping that one side or the other is going to be willing, either the Israelis or the Iranians are going to be willing to give us more facts and more information to clarify what happened.
Thank you, Richard. Thanks for joining us and thanks for giving your time for Azad TV.
Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a great day.